The key to understanding the different scenarios in a vast proposal is tracking error. Tracking error is a very important measure that's actually misunderstood by an awful lot of advisors and probably most clients. Tracking error gives you some indication of how your actual experience is likely to differ from the experience of the benchmark based on the composition of your portfolio. It's actually a measure of standard deviation. So if you think back to your statistics classes in the past, you'll recognize that standard deviation describes kind of a bell curve. Within a range of one standard deviation, that will represent about 68% of observed performance. 2 standard deviations is 95%, 3 standard deviations is 99%. This matters because a client's actual experience is expected to be within that tracking error range only 2 years out of 3, 68% of the time. So it's very important to keep that tracking error as tight as possible. It's also important to understand that forward-looking tracking error is an estimate and is often not entirely accurate. We can only estimate based on the information that we have about the stock's historical price performance. Historical tracking error is much more accurate. Historical tracking error will look at the mean performance of the portfolio relative to the mean performance of the benchmark and give you some expectation of how much variability there was in that difference in performance. The way you use tracking error is to help a client arrive at the best scenario for him or her. If the tracking error is pretty tight on the low tax impact scenario, and by tight I mean under about 2.5%, that could be a very attractive choice for the client. In many cases though, the tracking error in the low tax scenario is higher than that. And a tracking error higher than 2.5% just increases the likelihood that a client's actual experience from the portfolio will be different from their expectations when they invested in the portfolio. I think managing expectations is very, very important, and so a conversation about tracking error will help a client make the best choice of scenario for them. For more information, see our library of videos nearby.